the good people that come forward, including us that volunteer to run for election, committees, commissions, and we put in tremendous amount of hours, and again, I'm sure the board echoes, we just want to thank you very much. The Friends of the Council on Aging had their annual yard sale Saturday. It had to be a great success because Saturday could not have been a better day. The weather was just fantastic. I don't know, what the profits or proceeds were, but they just couldn't have had a better day. In that group, I think there's like 350 members now. And they have a core group of probably 15 to 20 people. I'm estimating these numbers. And they are just so energetic. A great group. They raise money, and they're in touch with our Director of Elder Services, Mary Prenny. They actually come in up to the O'Leary Senior Center, and they talk to the people, what would you like? And this is at no cost at all to the town, tax dollars whatsoever. They really do a fantastic job, and they're still growing, and they're still looking for more members. I believe the membership is like $10 a year or something like that, something minuscule like that. Very, very active group, and it's just a great group to work with. Speaking of the Council on Aging, they are still looking for members. They still have openings available, and that's another fantastic group. That is an appointed group by the town administrator, so anyone that is interested in that, please contact Mr. Valuconis. And the last thing I have to say, I have a statement I'd like to read, Mr. Chair, and that is, I want to respond to comments made by the town moderator at the last town meeting and clarify when I stood up on the meeting floor. If the moderator had been listening to what I said, he would have realized I did not stand to move the question. I repeat, I did not stand up to move the question. I stood because I thought the question had been moved. What I said was, Mr. Moderator, point of order. The question has been moved, but I was incorrect. It had not been moved yet. Mr. Murphy fired back at me, stating he will allow anyone to speak on a question until all questions have been answered. I fully agree with this theory, and that is why I or any members of the Board of Selectmen never stand up to move a question. Mr. Murphy should know this, because he served on the Board of Selectmen for a short time. I also feel town meetings should stay within the four corners of an article and not allow accolades to be given to someone in the middle of a very serious budget article. I realize as an elected official, I put myself in the limelight, and I accept that. I want to remind Mr. Murphy he is in the same category, and in order to command respect, he must show respect to others. Unfortunately, the 700 people or so who were at the town meeting will not get to hear what really happened and will still think I attempted to stop the discussion in an issue which now you know is totally false. The reason I bring this up at this later date is we have not had a selectmen's meeting since town meeting, and as a candidate for election, I cannot put a letter to the editor in the paper. That's the end of my letter, but I also want to add one thing. I had no problem whatsoever with Mr. Jervy getting the accolades that he got. Well-deserved. Mr. Jervy put in many, many years, a long time, a lot of hard work. My point is, it did not belong where it was. Thank you.
Anything else, Joe?
Nope.
Michael?
Nothing really for me. I just make sure everybody gets out there and votes and pay attention to the campaign that's going on. And if you can't attend, take a look at the League of Women Voters debate tomorrow night on TV if you can.
Status, can we get a status report on the Route 62 project again, just to see where we're at in relation to the punch list? And I just don't want those moving of telephone poles to be lost in the shuffle before we sign off on anything, because
Maybe time to do another telephone or hanging pole
right, you know, so
review.
I just think, you know, we must be getting close to Mass Highway and the contractor trying to pressure us into accepting that roadway, and I hope we're not that close, as close as they want us to be. The other thing is, one of our constituents made an interesting comment a few weeks ago in relation to our windfall in relation to the health insurance plan, and that it was amazing that Blue Cross Blue Shield came in at such a low figure, 2.6, whatever it was, at 2.4%.
2.5.
2.5%. And the comment was, if they can do that now because of the competition, what have they been doing to us all these years? And the fact is, it certainly appears that they've been bilking the public and the communities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for a number of years because they basically had a monopoly on the system. And the suggestion was maybe we should have town council, who represents a number of communities across the Commonwealth, take a look at filing a class action suit against Blue Cross Blue Shield, at least forcing them to respond to their previous actions of increases in excess of 10, 15% annually to communities, while the Group Insurance Commission, and fortunately the legislature has provided communities an opportunity to join now. This year, Group Insurance Commission increased average to 6.4%, which is more than Blue Cross Blue Shield, but traditionally has been at least half of what Blue Cross Blue Shield has been over the years. So I think it's a good suggestion that they deserve to be asked the difficult questions as to how come all of a sudden, now that there's the opportunity for competition, why did they provide us with such high rate increases, which has really been one of the major factors in our problems budgetarily every year. So why not? I think we should broach the subject with town council, see if there's something that we could force some sort of action on behalf of our community and a lot of other communities across the Commonwealth in forcing Blue Cross Blue Shield to respond to the issue. I think it's a good idea. I don't
Do we-
think this board feels.
Mr. Vino.
Mr. Chair, do we happen to know if they did this with other surrounding cities and towns like Reading and Wakefield, or is it just our run rate was, you know?
No, the average increase this year was substantially less across the board for North Reading and all of their other member communities. It was averaged under about 5.9%. That's very unusual considering where they've been in the past.
Yeah, okay.
Substantially higher, at least double that amount, Joe. So it happens to be that we were on the low end.
Right.
Of that 5.9. I was told that their highest increase was somewhere in the range of 10%.
Or was that somewhere local around here, or?
I don't know, I don't have that
Okay.
information.
I was just wondering if we were just one of the
I was
lucky
also told
ones.
that there were
you
communities that didn't have any increase at all.
know. Okay,
And we don't have we're not necessarily able to secure the information on their rating for all their communities.
I guess my only comment, Steve, I'm not opposed to doing it, but I don't want to spend good money to get nothing in return. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, because we don't
Well,
expect.
you know, Copeland and Page represents, I don't know, 100 and some odd communities. You know, maybe they'd be willing to do a little pro bono work
Well,
on behalf of all their communities.
yeah,
too,
I
which
think we
might
should
be
get maybe a little
suggestion.
more info, because I really,
But-
I don't want to get into something to pay for that, you know, may not be any return at all.
No,
I think it would be.
I like the theory, I like the idea.
I do too. I think.
But I'd like to know a little more about this.
Get some of the information from our surrounding towns about what their increases were and.
Copeland and Page is in an ideal situation to do it. They represent most of these
Absolutely.
communities anyway.
Yeah.
And,
They don't do Reading.
but I think, I just think it's something that,
Yep.
I don't know if you've been listening to the radio lately too. All of a sudden, Blue Cross Blue Shield is putting out a huge advertising campaign, spending money
Oh, sure,
trying to
sure,
woo
sure.
city and town and municipal employees, keep them in the fold, so to speak, and all the wonderful things that they've done for them. You know, we actually would have been in a negative increase situation if we had the deductibles up to
That's
you know,
right.
$10. It would have been a 2.5% decrease in our rates. I mean, it's absolutely borders on criminal as to what's happened to our community and other communities across the Commonwealth in relation to the excess charges in relation to health insurance costs. And again, we were at their mercy because of, again, contractually the way that we negotiate our contracts, but also limited as to the opportunity to go out and shop it around too. So I think they took full advantage of it, they capitalized on it, and I think competition, the legislature has finally done a good thing for communities to allow us to compete a little bit, to force them to compete for our business.
Anything else, Steve?
Yeah, one other thing was, tomorrow night's the League of Women Voters Candidates Night. Please tune in and listen to the candidates. Everybody's been working very hard, and I wish everybody luck. And again, Tuesday is a very important day. Please participate in the process. Come out, regardless of who you're supporting, whether you're in favor or opposed to the override. Just come out and participate. This year, there's been a groundswell of support and activity, political activity in the community, which I think is very healthy and terrific. Keep it going, and the more people that participate, the better. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Steve. I received a letter that was postmarked April 26th, received by the town April 28, 2008. I'm kind of prompted to read it. I did, at town meeting, recognize Mrs. Parker, who's going to be 100 years old on the 30th. But I received from her son, Tom Parker, this letter, and I will, in the interest of it being volunteer month,
Yep.
and that we have a 100-year-old volunteer
Yep,
here,
definitely.
I will burden the board with not too long a letter. Dear Mr. Messeri, several people have suggested I write to you to make aware of an important milestone in the life of a longtime town resident. On April 30th, 2008, my mother, Margaret Stevens Parker, will be 100 years old. She was born in Springfield, Mass. And grew up in Worcester, where she attended Worcester State Teachers College. She was next to the youngest in a family of 6. In 1936, she married my father, Robert Parker, who died in 1988. Since their arrival to North Reading in 1940, she has taken a great interest in the town and in town affairs. When she arrived here, her section of town did not have town water. The hand-crank phone connected to the telephone operator, who was Flossie Conran, the wife of the fire chief, and the switchboard was in their front parlor. The biggest grocery store around was in Reading Center, and there was still a wooden water tank on Tower Hill. Though unused to farming, she helped her husband Bob take care of 2 cows while he was off to work in Boston. She also found time for things to do in town as well. She served as a trustee of the Flint Memorial Library, and as a former primary grade teacher, she was interested in helping to select books for young readers. She served as a substitute teacher and tutor with the L.D. Batchelder and the Hood School. She also taught for a number of years at the Hilltop Kindergarten. She was a past president of the Upland Club, the North Reading chapter of the American Federation's Women's Club, where she took a great interest in American Home Day when the celebrated American historic past. With a group of women with similar interests, they started an antiquarian club in 1953, and 10 years later, in 1963, they founded the North Reading Historical and Antiquarian Society, of which she was an original charter member. She served the Historical Society there as president, curator, and secretary. One of her early projects was to help in preserving the second-floor ballroom with its historic Rufus Porter murals in the Damon Tavern, and helped their preservation by obtaining one of the first preservation grants ever awarded by the newly established Massachusetts Art Council. With her late husband, Robert Parker, together they worked long hours in assuring the preservation and restoration of the historic Reverend Daniel Putnam House for the benefit of the town. She has been an active member of the Union Congregational Church, serving as a deacon, church historian, and very active in her work with Faith Circle, and was a former president of both Priscilla Circle and also the Monday Club. I am very proud of her community service, and as we make this milestone of 100 years, I wanted you to know a bit of her accomplishments and hope the Selectmen might take a note in some manner by a letter or similar citation. On Sunday, April 27th, at the coffee hour at the church at 11 a.m., an open reception will be held in her honor. On her birthday, on Wednesday the 30th, she will be with a group of family and friends at the Hillview Country Club at 1 p.m. to have her birthday luncheon in her honor. Most sincerely, Thomas Parker.
Very
Do a
nice.
citation. Wait for us to do the citation.
Well, it's not too late
No, we
to
can do one.
create a citation.
Yeah.
Greg,
Great
Can you
citation.
do a citation, Greg?
can we have Linda put one together, and I'll come by and
I'll stop by.
sign it?
Yeah.
If the other board members want to do the
Yeah,
same?
yeah, I'll stop by and sign it.
We have that for tomorrow, and then,
If you have a